He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
We're back.
It's the end now. It's going to be coming to the end of March soon. Okay, it'll be April Fool's Day soon, right?
Yeah, and we're the fools with that carbon tax increase.
And we are the big fucking fools with that carbon tax increase. Holy shit. Okay, like I've never seen, like I'm an old man and I can barely remember when people were this pissed off about something happening as the carbon tax thing, right? Not happy.
Yeah.
Were you the one who told me April Fool's is only supposed to run till noon?
I think that was Michelle.
Oh, it's Michelle? Okay.
Yeah.
There's some kind of, because I'm actually not any expert on urban mythology bullshit. Okay, like says you can only do April Fools till noon. If you go afterward, you go afternoon, you're the fool. Okay, well, I didn't know there was a protocol.
Yeah, that's a little too technical for me.
Too technical on the April Fools bullshit. Yeah, carbon tax coming. Yeah, it just takes your breath away, right? I mean, like it's like we're supposed to, according to the rules, we're supposed to call it the carbon rebate. They changed the name to fix everything.
That's no.
No.
They're just trying to make something ugly look pretty. It's not going to work.
Not going to work. Not going to work. Okay, so talking about mortgages, this is funny because I was talking to a couple of other mortgage brokers and a couple of the lending bosses, like the actual underwriting bosses for a couple of different banks. And like the people who are actually in the trenches, like the underwriting bosses, not the vice presidents, but the people who are actually running, these sort of underwriting operations, like monitoring deals, signing off on mortgages, like, checking on volume, looking at actual problems with mortgages. Okay. And it was really interesting to talk to these people. We all realized, and a couple of other mortgage brokers, we all realized that the problem today we're having is qualification. So the mortgages are still so big, right?
Right.
Because the friggin' price of the houses is too big.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Houses, like, here's the housing story in a nutshell. So back in 2015, it was sort of half-assed reasonable. Still really, really expensive, okay? But it hadn't reached peak batshit crazy yet, okay? Then there was a big run-up, 2016, 2017, prices came off a little bit. Sort of a little bit of action in 18, 19. Rates were actually starting to go up. People don't realize this, but in 2019, most low rates had already crossed into the low fours. People were getting excited. Like it had been 2 something, and then it was like 3 something, and then it was like, oh my God, it's over 4. Like it's like 409. Okay. Then 2020, COVID hit.
Pandemic, yeah.
And the rest is
history.
Fuck up history. Okay. like mortgage rate fucking nonsense goes to 0. And the prices just ripped. Like 2021, while we were in it, I'll be honest with you, when we were in it, watching the prices go up like 5-6% a month, like what the fuck? Okay, we're watching it. I thought to myself, this is the craziest thing ever. But if you're in the mortgage business, when the tide comes in, you just got to go. Okay?
Just got to ride the wave.
Got to ride the wave. That's it. So, but I realized it was insanity. Then, of course, it ended, and the huge bump in rates went up. Just to remind everybody, Bank of Canada Prime went from 0.25, which is effectively, there's a technical word for it, for a rate that low. Sweet fuck all is the technical term for a rate that's like 0.25. It's basically nothing. It's 0. And so that then went all the way up to 5%. So Bank Prime, which is a different number, it went from 2.45 all the way up to what it is today, 7.2. Now that is a big change.
It's bizarre.
Huge change. That's what a lot of people who say, the the old fuckers who say, yeah, but when I was buying a house, the rates were 18%. Shut the fuck up, geezer.
On peanuts.
Shut the fuck up, geezer. On peanuts, on like you bought a bungalow in Scarborough for 119 grand. I mean, like, shut up, geezer. Okay, back in 1979. Yeah. Come on, please, just shut the fuck up. Okay. Yeah, but wages were low. No, that's actually bullshit. Okay, wages were not that low. You bought a house when you bought that $129,000 bungalow in Scarborough, Ontario, or in the farthest reaches of New Westminster back in British Columbia. It was like that was about 2.5 times your income. Now it's 8 times, 9 times, 11 times your income price of an average house. So yeah, we got to get all that out of our minds. The prices. So what coming all circle all the way back to huge house prices equal big mortgages.
Yeah.
Okay. Equal hardly anybody qualifies.
Yeah.
As I talked to these underwriting bosses, they both said the same thing. It's all of our problems are about qualification because it's just so you need every single penny of income to barely qualify.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wages haven't kept up.
Have not kept up, not even slightly. Like if you got 8, 9 times, 10 times income, they have not kept up. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially this last round of inflation, even worse because you're spending more on groceries, spending more on cars, spending more on gasoline, spending more on everything. There's your carbon tax again. But let's break it down. Like, qualification is so hard because the mortgages are too big because the price of houses is still completely batshit crazy and wages haven't kept up. So the incomes are tight. So you need all these co-signers, all this
11 people on a mortgage.
Oh my God. So that's the issue today. And like I read an article just yesterday, read a post, can't remember it's online, who it was from, but like on this happiness scale, like Canada keeps sinking on the world happiness scale. Like it just keeps sinking in Canada. I mean, people are less happy. Oh, and guess what? They break it down by ages. So that people under 35 are now 2.5 times less happy than people over 50. Yeah. Wonder why. Okay. Like I wonder why the fuck. Okay. You got to remember people over 50, like we're not banging as much. We're not like we're eating a lot, but we're not having as much fun as people at 35 supposedly, but they're less happy because their lives are fucked. They can't buy a house.
Yeah.
Okay. The rents are so fucking high. Okay.
Everything is so expensive.
Too high. So how to manage that? The question starts to become, if you want to think about this housing facts and fiction, you hear so much bullshit, so much, everybody has a different story. Government tells you one thing. It's the so-called experts. The experts, the urban planners tell you something else. The government tells you another story. The local government, the municipal government, the city government, they all got a different bullshit story to tell you, okay? And it sort of all boils down to, in Ontario and most of British Columbia where the prices are so high, it tends to boil down to density versus sprawl. Okay. So what do we mean by that? We mean density means you got to put up a lot of homes. You got to increase the number of homes in the existing cities. Like we're like on your street, you need to find a way to have more houses there. Now, that brings us to something interesting that just happened. Was Premier Ford in Ontario just announced last week that, hey, we're not going to have any fourplexes. You can have a fourplex if the city agrees to it, but unlike British Columbia, which went all the way to a sixplex, like the Premier of British Columbia, Dave Eby, said, we're going to put legislation through. So if you got a single family lot, if you want to, you can build a sixplex on it. Nobody can stop you. City can't stop you. Nobody can stop you. You can do it if you want. Of course, we got our, the Muppet didn't show up today, but still, we got our buddy Premier Ford to say, folks, we put up an 8-story building in the middle of a street with small houses on it. Oh, there's going to be a lot of yelling and screaming, okay? I mean, like, what the fuck? Nobody talked about an 8-story building. Are you fucking nuts? Okay, nobody said that. Anyway, it's a bunch of political bullshit. So, Premier says no to fourplexes on single-family lots. Okay. I think it would be fine, actually. Like, nobody was ever proposing building 8-story buildings on these single-family lots. That was total bullshit, okay? There was a suggestion you could build 5 stories right on a main street. Like, if you're on an actual transit line, like the Danforth, where there's actually ongoing streetcar, subway access, whatever, like pure rapid transit available, highly available, you could build 5 stories. Nobody ever said 8 stories. It's just a bunch of bullshit. But so that's really sort of NIMBYism. Like what you get is when NIMBY is not in my neighborhood. Okay, it's not in my backyard. Not in my backyard. You can do whatever you want somewhere else, just not in my neighborhood. Okay, which is people say, well, if I bought it, like here's what I gotta say. I worked hard. Yeah. Everybody always says worked hard. That's one thing about us old fucks. We always tell young people how fucking hard we worked. Okay, like that's our whole existence. Is you guys are soft. You're soft. Yeah,
I stayed at my corporate job for 50 years. Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, I got a big pension. Oh, there's no more pensions. Okay, sorry for that. But still, fuck off. Work harder. Okay. So I know what's wrong with you young people.
Lazy. Always calling us lazy.
Avocado toast, right? Too much avocado. You're buying these lattes in the Starbucks. You should make shit coffee at home, and you take too many vacations. You're all soft. Okay, that's what you hear from old fucks, right?
Of course.
Hear that endlessly.
Yeah.
Right? So, but these NIMBY people, don't change anything in my neighborhood. Like their idea is, I bought a house here. Fortunately, 20 years ago, very fortunate. People don't even realize how fortunate they were in Toronto, Vancouver, even Montreal to a certain extent, to buy a house 20 years ago. How tremendously lucky that was for them. And things have gone their way for house values, obviously. And they say, but the interesting thing is what they say is, I never want my neighborhood to change ever. Because I bought it then, it was like that then, and therefore it must stay that way till I die. Okay.
I get it to an extent though, but it's like you're in a very dense city. You're in a very, everyone wants to live here.
Yes.
Like, like in these big cities, of course, like there's growth in smaller cities and towns and stuff, but you have to accept that we are a very multicultural, diverse country.
Correct.
We are going to have growth. And if you're not willing to adapt and change, then it sucks for you, I guess.
But man, oh man, they are so set in their ways.
They are, of course.
Bottom line is, I don't want anything I don't want anything to change. Where I live, for the blocks and blocks around where I live, I don't want anything to change. Nothing. Okay?
But life changes. The world is changing.
Well, look, I live in a nice neighborhood with single family homes on big lots. And fuck it, like I'm not an idiot. You could build a fourplex on one of those lots and I wouldn't give a shit. Okay. Some people even want to just argue about cars parked on the street. Like think about that for a second. You just want to be pissed off because there's extra cars parked on your street. Please fuck yourself.
You don't own the street.
Yeah, like you don't own the street, okay? Like, and by the way, they aren't blocking your driveway.
Yeah.
You get in and out fine. You just don't like the look of it.
Oh, boo-hoo. Cry me a fucking river.
You hear so much bullshit from these NIMBY sons of bitches. But all right, let's break it down. Sprawl versus density. So you take really dense, if you go super dense, like you go to places like Singapore, it's just totally different. Let's not talk about Singapore. It's basically a little tiny city state. Let's not talk about that. You go to places like New York, yeah, it's dense. I mean, you go into Manhattan, housing is dense, okay? Yeah. But guess what? Just over in Queens, Queens is like where you arrive. Like if you arrive at LaGuardia, you're in Queens. That's where it is. Where the airport is, okay? You drive through Queens, it's not all that dense. It's like sort of looks like Scarborough. Like houses are close to sort of touching each other, but it's not crazy like Manhattan is dense. Okay, so guess what? And by the way, you drive an hour away from Manhattan. Like you go into upstate, you go headed for upstate New York. Houses get really cheap really fast. Whereas in Barrie, the houses are still like you look at Vancouver. The houses in Ladner are still too fucking expensive. Okay. And that's like an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half away. Yeah. It's like go to Barrie from Toronto. That's like an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a quarter. And the houses are still super fucking expensive. Yeah. Okay. So we're fucked up that way. Not the same in New York at all. Not at all. Okay. So dense, that's fine. But here's a question. Like when you drive past the 407 once in a while, right?
Yeah.
You drive past the 401. Sometimes we go to I don't like cottages per se, but sometimes you go to a cottage and you go up and this is a huge goddamn province, right?
Yeah.
Huge.
I have a cousin who lives on the border of Manitoba and Ontario, and it's like a long drive for him to come down.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like that's a
very
day.
long.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge province. Okay.
It is, yeah.
And so is British Columbia. It's actually a huge, yes, there's mountains, there's rivers. Yes. You can't build a house on top of a mountain. I get it. Thank you, folks from BC. I was born there, for fuck's sakes. Okay. I know what it looks like. I've been there, man. I lived there for years. Okay. Yes, there's rivers, there's ocean, there's mountains. It's just a little bit restricted, but it ain't small. Okay. Like there's still some places you could build some houses.
For sure.
It's all about these restrictions. Like in Ontario, we have this crazy greenbelt bullshit. Okay. And I know there's going to be 500 comments. No, the greenbelt's vital. Oh my God, it's a precious farmland. Well, I got news for you. Like every house in Toronto was a farm once. Just go back 200 years, 150 years. It was a farm. They tore it down and built houses.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a way to preserve things. Like I'm not saying they have to completely tear everything down, but if there's a housing crisis and there's land that can be built on, start. Like we are struggling with these prices. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. You can do it in a rational way. When you drive along a highway and you see it's just a bunch of rocks and bush, there's no goddamn farm there. Okay. There's also no houses there.
I get it. They're protecting like the ecosystems that are there, but there's a way to build around that to protect and also build.
I'm a little bit more of a bastard than you're a nice person. I'm a little bit more of a bastard.
I'm like, yay, animals.
My position is, fuck those frogs. Like, fuck them. There's a spotted black frog. If we build there, if we kill that spotted, fuck that frog. He can go. Okay, like I don't care. All right, like serious. I'm driving along. Like I just get outside of Hamilton and I start to see nothing but bush and rocks, and that's Greenbelt. That is not Greenbelt. There's fuck all green there. Okay, it's a rock. All right, let's build some fucking houses there. Okay, to your point, we got to use common sense, and there's a way to make sure that we still have wetlands, and we still have, and like the farming thing. Come on, like here's the problem with me. I've been everywhere in Canada. If we took away a whole bunch of farms in Ontario and built houses, the boys in Saskatchewan, the gals in Manitoba, the guys and gals in Alberta, they'll make the food for us. Don't worry. There's plenty of space there, okay? They're going to make some food. We're going to get 25 comments. Say, oh, you don't know anything.
Farmers are going to come for you, for sure.
Farmers are going to come for you. You know fuck all about agriculture, you fat bastard. In reality, we have you can only grow apples and peaches in this one spot. Please, Jesus, just stop, okay? Stop it, okay? It's a huge province, all right? My comparison is always Calgary. Always my comparison is Calgary.
Love Calgary.
It's a great town. I lived there for just about 4 years. Great town. I think it's the youngest age average city in Canada. Okay, because young people are always come to Calgary. And a lot of the old people leave. A lot of the old people retire to like
snowbirds, right?
Well, but they also just get up and leave. They go to like Penticton, Kelowna, and nice locations in British Columbia. They leave Calgary, okay, because
it's cold.
Whatever. And
snowbirds. Cold.
to your point.
Yeah.
They got places in Arizona, whatever. So it's a great town. Like Calgary is just a great city. Okay, I think the mayor there may be losing her mind. She's trying to buy jillions of dollars worth of electric buses that don't fucking work. She may be going a little nutty, but it's a great town, and the prices are reasonable. Like there's a lot of they're building houses all the time in Calgary. Yeah. Like they're not just building apartments. They're not just building condos. They're building townhouses, and they're building a lot of single family, a lot of semis. And the reason why they can ease is because it's easy. They just keep adding more land. Okay, they just keep. Now, when you fly over Calgary, you notice that it just keeps getting fucking bigger and bigger every time you fly over it. Like they're not crazy about it. So in Ontario and British Columbia, we would call that Calgary's bad because of sprawl. Sprawl is bad, and yet nobody in Calgary is pissed off. Okay,
I mean, a few Calgarians are because their prices have hiked recently. Like their
nothing
rent.
Like ours.
Of course, not compared to ours, but they were comfortable with their pricings, and then now, Alberta called Ontario's people left, and then now their prices is starting to hike a little bit, but probably not going to reach $3,000 for a 2-bedroom like us
for rents.
Yeah.
No, that's not
or
in the
even
cards.
price like a purchase pricings.
No, that's not.
They're not going to reach in the millions
because they keep building.
Yeah,
and here's the deal. When we listen to all this stuff about sprawl is terrible. Okay, so what's wrong about sprawl? Sprawl is terrible. Cities decided sprawl was terrible because it was expensive. Like you had to have garbage collection, you had to have snow removal, you had to have all this stuff you had to do. And if it was the city's area kept growing and growing, that becomes more and more expensive. Okay, fine. But guess what? In Calgary, they just say, well, we'll just increase the property taxes. Like if people don't like it, they can not buy here, but they keep buying. Okay. And they're not there's somehow like roads. There must be. Another thing in Calgary, they don't add $1 jillion in development fees to every property. Okay. They have this strange theory that existed in all of Canada for the first 150 years. Like if we let you build a house here, we'll let you do that for cheap because you'll pay property taxes forever. Okay. And we like property taxes. Okay. But we lost our minds here and we said, well, we want to keep property taxes super low for people who have been enjoying the benefits for 25 years. We want to keep it unnaturally low, property taxes. Vancouver, most expensive houses, lowest property taxes in North America. Lowest in North America. So the idea shifted and city mayors and councillors decided, well, we're going to keep our jobs. Everybody's going to love us if we keep the property taxes low, so we're just going to screw the shit out of the young people buying new homes. Okay, and we just do huge development fees. So they don't do that to any similar degree in Calgary. Guess what? Prices are reasonable.
Of course, yeah.
They allow farms and ranches to be converted to new subdivisions, and guess what? Prices are more reasonable. Okay, so yeah, I get it. Going to be 1 million people. We're going to be everybody who's living in a nice semi in Toronto is going to say, you're crazy. We can't change the green belt. Folks, you don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. You got some whack job ideas in your heads. I mean, you said it. All we got to do is build. We have to build.
And there's a way to do so to protect the ecosystems and the frogs.
Adequately.
Right?
No, I still, okay, that's where you and I differ. I say, fuck the frogs. Okay. But okay.
There's a way to do so. It's just a matter of them wanting to do so.
And doing it and just not giving up on it. And the suspicion I keep having is that there's an ulterior motive that if you restrict access to land greatly, then the few people who own the last bits of raw land, who might all just be billionaire families in Toronto and Vancouver, if you own the last bits of empty land, it really pumps up your value.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's one thing to remember, folks. If a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to keep putting it out there. In the United States of America, there are public companies, like big companies, publicly traded on stock exchanges that build houses. We hardly have that here in Canada. We don't. Effectively, we almost don't. We have billionaire families who build houses.
Right.
Okay. And these guys are so rich, they can just sit back and wait like they are now. Like
they're comfortable.
We you know what? If it looks like interest rates are up, we just won't build. We don't give a shit. We're rich. Okay. If you're a public company, you have to keep building. You have to find a way. And by the way, folks, this just drives me nuts. We saw a listing of this gorgeous home. Beautiful 6-bedroom home, 4,500 square foot home on beautiful neighborhood, manicured lawns, tennis court, swimming pool, outdoor kitchen, absolutely gorgeous on almost a half an acre of land, just in the suburb of Houston, $800,000 US. Somebody asked me, what would that cost here? Well, somewhere between 4 and 10 million, depending on where it was. Okay.
Yeah, I saw this post where this lady, she was at the House of Commons, and she was comparing the prices of homes across Canada to the prices of castles in Europe.
Oh my God.
And they were like the same price. And I was like, oh, okay, so I could buy a castle in like the outskirts of England for like $2-3 million versus that would be a 4-bedroom home in Toronto.
Yep.
Well, a little bizarre.
there might be some plumbing issues in that castle.
Yeah.
But,
there's definitely cons, but
yeah, there might be a little bit of renovation you need to do.
But I mean, it is a castle.
but in essence, you're 100% correct. I mean, we've had so much restriction on available land in some of these cities. Let's face it, if you're talking about downtown Vancouver. Yeah, it's a peninsula, for Christ's sakes. I mean, there's water on 3 sides, all right? So, yeah, and there's mountains close, and there's another river somewhere else, and yeah, it's restrictive. But Toronto, I'm sorry. Like, the GTA, you could open up some land if you wanted, but mind you, it takes us 10 years just to build a little bit of road, so we got a lot of problems. Folks.
Yeah.
But that's my 2 cents worth. Density's fine, but give people some goddamn choice, okay? Make some land available, do the right thing, or in the downtown areas where, like in my own neighborhood, like I'm so serious in my own neighborhood. If you built a 4-plex in one of those big lots in my neighborhood, nobody would give a shit. If every 6th house was a 4-plex, yeah, there'd be a few more cars parked in the street, but it wouldn't be the end of the fucking world.
No.
Okay? So come on, folks. Let's just be more rational about all this, all right? Let's be smarter about it. Okay. Rates. What's going on with rates? There's a little increase, a tiny, tiny increase. Basically, you barely wouldn't notice it. A little tiny increase, but some news, some forward-thinking news, forward in time. You know, I always have my story about how eventually rates will come down some more, okay? By the fall, we'll eventually see the Bank of Canada cut rates. Well, guess what? They're going through the minutes of the Bank of Canada meeting because they publish minutes now. Like they published the whole bullshit story of what they were telling to each other. What Tiff was saying at the meeting. Oh, I am so wise. I shall know exactly what to do at the right time. No one will tell me particularly. That fat bastard Ron Butler will not tell me. I hate him so. That was one thing in the meeting. Not really. That's a lie. But they're talking cuts. When they estimate there will be cuts. The actual people who are paid to think about it believe there will be cuts by the end of the year. They released the big meeting from the Federal Reserve in the United States, which is really the king of all central banks, is the Federal Reserve, and they said, "Yep, we still think there'll be 3 cuts this year. It's delayed because inflation isn't dropping quite as fast. We had the decent drop in inflation in Canada. Now, I know, again, whenever I put this out that eventually rates will come off, there's going to be 30 comments that you are so stupid. You are the stupidest man. You don't know rates are going to go up. Okay, Bank of Canada is going to raise rates. Yeah, I get it. There's a cranky bunch of people out there. But yeah, no, rates will eventually come down. Again, they're not going back to 2%. Not happening.
Those dreams are over, friends.
Those days are gone, but they will come down. So that's the truth of it all. Okay. One development, very interesting development just last week. The Competition Bureau of Canada, which is the government commission that thinks about why are we getting screwed on prices of everything, like the prices of cellular, the prices of groceries, the prices of banking, what banking fees. Are we getting screwed on prices by big companies? Okay. So the fascinating report came out from them that said, hey, I think we're screwing everybody on renewals.
Oh.
Let me explain. Because, the banks will compete with each other. If we've said it 1,000 times, if you can use a mortgage broker to dig up some competitive rates, you can go back to your bank, you can switch if you want, but the first rate you're offered from your bank is probably never going to be the best rate you're ever offered. You can negotiate it better. You can get it down, okay? So, and let's face it, the next 2.5 years are going to be an avalanche of renewals. Like I think 65% of maybe more of all mortgages, maybe 70% of all mortgages renew in the next 2.5 years. It's like wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So Competition Bureau of Canada comes out and says, for just straight renewals, just if you want to switch your mortgage from RBC to Scotia, from TD to BMO, from BMO to CIBC, if you're just switching your mortgage and you're not increasing that mortgage by one dime, no stress test. Stress test is bullshit. Hold on. I'm going to say that again. Competition Bureau of Canada says stress test is bullshit on straight renewals. Okay? They should know. They are in the business of analyzing competition.
Yeah.
They made it clear. If your own bank will renew you without a stress test.
You qualify, obviously.
Well, yeah, you made your payments.
Yeah.
Okay. But mostly, if the stress test means you can't go anywhere else, if the stress test means all of a sudden you don't qualify at other banks because it's 2% added to the rate.
Right.
So let's say, hey, here's your bank comes out to you. Yes, we're going to renew you at 5.89. There's your renewal, 3-year fixed, 5.89. Oh, that's shitty. I can go with Butler and they got a rate over here for 4.99. I should do that. Aha, but we know that your income is only flat and the rate's gone up. And if we add the stress test of 2%, you won't qualify. So we've got you by the balls. Okay.
Wow.
Thank you, bank. But the Competition Bureau realizes that and they say, no, bullshit to that. If the bank you're with is not using a stress test when you renew, and basically everybody gets renewed, or else the whole system would blow up. Like because we only got 3 and 5, 4 or 5 year mortgages in this country.
Yeah.
We don't have 30-year mortgages, right? So if your own bank doesn't have to use a stress test to renew you, they can just offer you renewal. Why the fuck can't you just do that with the other guy? Remember, it's not
exact
one
same amount. Yeah.
Exact same amount. No increase. You're not getting any money out of this thing. Okay. Now, I know there'll be a couple of comments. Oh, no, that's wrong. Shut the fuck up. Okay. Like, honestly, that is right. Even the government of Canada themselves, their own Competition Bureau said, stop the stress test. You hear that, Peter Rutledge? OFC? Like, I know that's the guy who's in charge of keeping the stress test. Like, Peter Rutledge is the boss at the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, the bank regulator. He thinks he's made the hero call, put on the stress test years ago. Turns out it was very needed. But hey, Peter, not fucking needed on renewals, buddy. Okay. I mean, you're not famous enough for me to get a Muppet of you yet, but still. No, fuck no. It's the right thing to do. Canada, OFC, Bank of Canada, listen carefully. Government of Canada, no stress test on renewals. Give people a chance to shop.
Yeah.
Remember, not 1 penny of increase. Simple as that. So even the government's own agency believes it now. All right.
Yeah. People need options.
We got questions from the viewers.
Yes, we
Questions
do.
from the listeners. Some of you are listening on a pod. Some of you are watching it on YouTube.
Okay. This one says, I was told when I got my mortgage, it was portable and I have bought a new home and I need support the mortgage. Yeah, I need support the mortgage, but it's smaller because I'm downsizing. But the bank says no to port.
Well, that's a unique, that doesn't happen very often. Okay, that's a unique situation. But I think it's important to tell everybody that is one of the risks with porting. Yes, you can have a clause in your mortgage that says you can port the mortgage at the bank's, with the bank's approval, you can port the mortgage. But here's what happens. If you've got a $500,000 mortgage and you downsize and now you only need a $300,000 mortgage, the bank's allowed to say that's a break. Okay, it's as simple as that. Like you can't, that's a whole new structured mortgage, that you're just vanishing $200,000. I get it. Today, people have great rates. You might still have a 2.29 rate from 3 years ago, and you just want to move that rate across. Hey, just get rid of $200,000. The bank's got a right to say no. That's a radical change. Right. If you read the fine print of every portability clause, you'll find out that, if you change the mortgage too much, we can say no. Okay, it's as simple as that. Moving up is not such a big problem. You can do something called a port increase and blend. You can do that. That's one way. If you're moving up, you need a bigger mortgage. Dollar for dollar is no problem. And by the way, with most banks, an increase, what most banks can do is if you need a little bit bigger mortgage, like you had a $500,000 mortgage, $500,000 mortgage, you wanted to buy a bigger house, you need another $100,000. the bank could just give you a component or a line of credit. They could port that low rate $500,000 mortgage, give you $100,000 line of credit, or give you $100,000 additional portion of your mortgage at a different rate, at obviously a higher rate.
Yeah.
But you'd be able to hold on to your lower rate. But you can't do that when you shrink it. You can't do that. That's actually, you go past you change the mortgage by about more than 10 or 15%, and the bank has the right to say, wait a second, that's a whole new mortgage. That's a break. That's a break. If you're reducing the mortgage by 40%, we're going to call it a break, and you're going to have to pay you have to pay a penalty, and you're not going to be able to keep that mortgage. So that's what happened there.
Got it. This one says, I saw a video of a mortgage broker who said lower rates, even on a fixed rate, not just a variable rate, might cause a bigger break penalty. Does that make sense?
Well, this brings up the whole topic of mortgage broker bullshit. Okay, so let me really clarify this. Mortgage brokers and bank representatives, because there's commission, people who work for RBC sell mortgages on commission too. Okay. Commission can sometimes motivate people to lie. And sometimes they don't even know it's a lie. Okay. But what commission does is motivate people to think about, how do I make the most money on a mortgage as opposed to what's best for the client? Now, here's the key truth of mortgage brokering. If you do everything you can to create a lower rate for the client, such as our company, Butler Mortgage, if we're doing everything we can, we're buying down rates. In other words, we're reducing our company's income from the mortgage offering to lower the rate for the client. So we're working on let's say on one mortgage, Butler Mortgage might be making $3,000. A regular mortgage broker would make $7,000 by charging a higher rate. Okay. They're just charging the regular rate. We're discounting to get, that's why we're making less. But so what ends up happening is every mortgage broker, maybe not every, but many, like maybe majority, they like to think up strategies to explain why. You're going to hear this phrase from mortgage brokers all the time, and from bank reps. You're going to hear the phrase, well, rate's not the most important thing. You might think it's the most important thing, but it's not the most important thing. That's because the most important thing is your commission, is what you're really thinking, okay? So here's the deal. The lowest rate is the best rate for the client once you decide what the product should look like. Like if you know you're going to move in 2 years, get a 2-year fixed. Okay. Don't pay any break penalty. If you're unsure, like if you're 50-50 of whether you're going to be in the same house in 3 years, take a 3-year. Take a 3-year, if you believe, like I talk to people every day who say, well, this is going to be my forever house. Well, then take a 5-year fixed. Who cares? No, because all this story about avoiding penalties is based on this master lie that exists in our business. The master lie is that 65% of all mortgages will be broken, but you will pay a penalty by the end of 3 years. Total lie. Mortgage brokers tell it every day. I could probably right now, as we speak, there's some mortgage broker telling this lie to some poor client. And half the time the mortgage brokers actually believe it because this lie is often promoted by people who run whole big mortgage companies. There was one 8-foot tall alien who used to tell everybody, he lives in Vancouver, 8-foot tall alien would tell everybody, yes, this is a fact, absolute fact. 65% of all fixed rate mortgages are broken. If you had a 5-year fix, 65% of them broken by the end of year 3. That's a huge majority, right? 65 is huge. It's a total lie. So I challenged the same alien to, hey, if you can find one single bank that would issue a letter that said, yes, 65% of all of our 5-year mortgages break before the end of the 3rd year. If you get that letter, I'll pay you $10,000. The letters never come. I have a standing offer to every mortgage broker in this country. You produce a letter on the letterhead of the bank, letterhead of the lending company, signed by the vice president or the president.
Not photoshopped.
Not photoshopped. No PDF foolishness here. No Adobe. No changing. No whiteout. Everybody under 30 is saying, What's whiteout? Is that like a snowstorm?
Hold on. I used whiteout.
All right, you know what whiteout.
Hold on.
You know what it is. All right, you know whiteout. All right. So everybody is saying, look, I tell everyone, it's open challenge. Any mortgage broker in this country, you produce me a valid letter from a lender that says, yes, 65% of all of our 5-year fixed break and pay a penalty before the end of 3 years. No one's got the 10 grand. No one's even showed up. No one's even talked about it. So it's just a fucking lie. Why do they want to lie about that?
It's a sales tactic.
They want to either sell you a variable or they want to tell you that you have to worry about penalties, so you should take a higher rate product. They just have a million different commission-driven reasons to tell this lie.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, the most famous line out of every mortgage broker and commission mortgage salesman in this country is, salesperson, sorry, in this country is, rate's not the most important thing. Rate's really, really fucking important, folks. Okay, that's why you go to the places who have the best rate. Okay, now, so that answer that question is that's a complete lie. Okay. Oh no, we can tell you. Let me show you how there's all this mortgage calculation bullshit. You don't fucking know. Okay, all these banks, you may not need to break your mortgage. You may just. Why don't we just add a component again? Add a line of credit. You need more money? Just add a line of credit. Don't change the mortgage at all. Don't pay a penny in penalty. Okay? 1,000 reasons why. Folks, just look for the lowest rate. If you start hearing some complicated story about, this bank's fixed rates are better. That's because you make more commission over there. Oh, this lender's product is better, and this is the reason why it's lower penalties. Yeah, that's because they pay you more commission, dude. You're just lying to make more money, okay? Not everybody does, and there'll be a million mortgage brokers who say, Butler, you fucking fat fuck, you're full of shit. I am not. Remember, the 8-foot-tall alien from Vancouver who said, all these mortgages break, 10 grand. 10 grand. He could make an easy 10 grand. He says it's the truth, so somebody banker's going to give him a letter, right? Still waiting. 5 years later, still waiting. He's still lying to people. Okay, so that's the truth of it all. Folks, just get the best rate. Once you decide what the right product is for you. Is it variable? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? You do all that product research and then just get the best rate. Okay?
Yeah.
Because that's the majority of people live in the house. The majority of people will probably renew their mortgage at least once. Okay. So yeah, just get the best rate. Okay. Which brings us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
What the actual fuck? I have such a fucking mad bullshit thing that just hit me last week. So you know how we're supposed to hate cars, right? We're supposed to hate roads, hate cars. Like even the Environment Minister of Canada, Gilles Guilbeault, said no more money for cars. No more money for roads. We don't want roads. The federal government doesn't want to build any new roads. No. We might give you some money to keep them, to fix the potholes, to keep them open. But
yeah, sure.
No new roads in Canada, says Environment Minister. I mean, oh, fuck, that is so crazy. Okay. No
Why?
roads.
Is he protecting the frogs?
He loves his frogs. He loves his frogs. But we got to climb down from this anti-car bullshit, from all of this. We're not going to allow big pickup trucks in downtown Toronto because they take up too many parking spaces. We don't want to have this. We don't want to do that. We don't want to let any cars in. We want to have 15-minute cities where only people walk for everything. So let me give you a news fucking flash on 15-minute cities. How the fuck is the food going to get there? Okay? Is somebody going to walk from the fucking farm in Kitchener to downtown Toronto with a fucking case of food on his shoulder? We're going to have, how about that we're going to use the trains that actually don't work properly or never, we barely have enough passenger trains to get people from Hamilton to Toronto. And we're going to use train. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay? Okay. The war on the car needs to fucking end. And let me give you the chief reason why. Because our own fucking government, the same government who says no more roads, is also spending $40 billion on battery plants for cars.
Right.
What the actual fuck is going on there? Okay, like fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Okay, so yes, we hate cars. We love electric cars. We love EVs, but we hate cars. What the fuck? What, are you nuts? How nutty fucking are you? Okay, so you're going to put $40 billion in battery plants, but no roads. All right, let's just shut the fuck up about all this.
Are they gonna fly?
Flying cars, yeah, no, but battery-driven flying cars.
Yeah.
You know how heavy that battery is?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me, it is. The batteries in these EVs are like unbelievable. Okay, so yeah, no flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, and we got to start making some fucking sense here. Okay, like this is absolutely fucking nuts. We want cars. We want people to stop using cars. We're going to build buildings with no parking lots. We're going to build houses. We're going to build apartment buildings on parking lots, and we're going to have no cars. But we're going to spend $40 billion on battery plants. Okay.
So fucking stupid.
So fucking stupid. Just stop the war in the car. Build some fucking roads. We're going to keep you, as long as we got civilization in Canada, second biggest country on earth in landmass. We're going to keep using fucking cars.
Fuck yeah.
Well, maybe we just don't want cars in Toronto. Fuck you all. You'll starve. Okay?
Toronto's not even built to not have cars.
Exactly.
Our transit system is so trash.
So fucked up. Like, it's not like New York. New York, you think a subway everywhere. Toronto,
Yeah.
the fucking LRT still isn't finished after 150 years. Okay? They're still trying to they don't even know when the fuck it's going to finish. Okay? Like, fuck you. Exactly. Best thing you said. Okay? You said many good things today. But this is the best. The transit doesn't even fucking work in Toronto, for fuck's sakes.
No.
So you're going to have no roads, no cars, and spend $40 billion on the fucking battery plants?
We got to learn to fly.
Yeah, we
got to grow some fucking wings.
So it's genetic modification is the answer. This is what Environmental Minister Gilles Guilbeault says. Yes, we shall just get you wings. Okay, we will develop. It's going to be some gene splicing. Okay, no, come on, folks. Like, stop the fucking war on the fucking car, please. Fucking stop it. Build some roads. Do the right thing. Yes, EVs, great. I don't care. Great. Okay, I'm fine with it. Beautiful. But there's still going to be fucking cars and trucks. Anybody who thinks there isn't going to be, shut the fuck up. Thanks, folks. See you next time.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.